United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 2, we will call the February 3rd, 2022 Village Board meeting to order. Number 3, roll call. Shows everyone is in attendance. Julie and Peter are on the phone tonight. 4, agenda changes. Are there any? No? Okay, we'll go to 5, consent agenda. A, December 16th, 2021 amended regular board meeting minutes. B, January 20th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. C, January 27th, 2022 special board meeting minutes. D, licenses and permits as shown. E, contracts and agreements as shown. And F, presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call. Peter?
Aye.
Julie? Oops, sorry.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. There.
You pay here to speak?
Yep, I wrote my name.
Oh, Jeremy Blau.
If that's okay, I'd like to speak.
Yep.
Yes, go
Okay,
ahead.
cool. In regards to the bid pack that came up, the package right there, on page 28, there was out of Miller Park lighting proposal that's on a motion tonight for $57,000 for approval from Wisconsin Lighting Lab, and then $9,600 was some change from I think it's D. Tome Electrical Contracting. There's some discrepancies in the final page on page 30 where the calculations are made on how the totals are getting totaled. And if I can speak at that, I'd appreciate that. Does everybody know? If I can speak on that, that'd be great. Because there's some missing parts so that they're not apples and apples by any means. And our quote, B&H Lighting, who designed the lighting up there, is at $40,677, and Wisconsin Lighting Lab is at $57,000. So there's about $14,000 more cost to the village for them basically identical. And I'm just wondering why we do a motion to approve that. And then also the DE Tome Electrical Contractor is $9,700. If you look at page
I'll speak
47,
Oh.
if you look at page 47, it states from Deary Electric that they have included 2 surge protectors for the system on 48 volt 3-phase. There's no 48 volt 3-phase up there. And on page 21, Tome doesn't have it included, the surge protection, which is called out in what everybody's supposed to do. And in Will Lighting Lab, page 31, they don't have surge protection either, but Deary does. So if you take $9,700 from Tome and you throw in $3,000 in surge protection, they're higher than Deary. So I don't know why you would make a recommendation to go with someone that doesn't have all their stuff. Just want to make that clear to everybody. And if anybody wants to sit down and go through it with a lighting company as myself who designed all of this, I would be more than happy to take some time and go through it all. Because B&H Lighting with Deary Electric is $14,794.45 cheaper with new mounting hardware, new boxes, and new wiring going down the pole with surge protection. Total of about $11,000 more we have than they. So it's a difference of about $30,000. So I would highly recommend the board, if they would like to sit down with me and go through all of it, because I'm the one that wrote the spec to begin with. So right now, the difference is $14,000 that you're gonna approve for lighting that you don't need. Ours is the same. And the
Anything
light
else?
fixture's right there. If someone wants to say comparability of fixture quality, I brought a light fixture right there if anyone wants to see it. So, that's my concern as a village person. You guys can do what you'd like. I would love to have the opportunity to go through it all and sit down with the board so that you know what you actually need. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we will now go to 7 committee reports. A, library board. Pat?
We met a week ago this past Tuesday, and reviewed the final 2021 budget and looked at any budget amendments that had to be made. There is an annual report that's due every year, March, around the 1st of March, and so we will probably, the Finance and Personnel Committee may be meeting early prior to the full board meeting to go through some numbers that Ally is drafting for that annual report. We also discussed some ideas for, kind of brainstorm ideas to build usership and build the collection in the coming year. And just wanted to mention that the book sale is set for May 7th at this point, and the library is accepting donations on behalf of Friends of the Library.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, we will move to 8, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there is none. Go to 9, new business. A, discussion and possible action on resolution R-1-22, capital fund budget amendments.
This is a budget amendment for 2021. Basically, the initial amounts we had in Miller Park was kind of delayed, so that was pushed to this next year. So that's why there was a minus there. And then basically it was moving items up that we paid for earlier that we were going to initially do in 22 that we approved for 21, such as the Badger books, which would be the MSC improvements, which is the 8,000 there. The Oak Street paving came in 2,000 more, so then we sent some down that was originally supposed to be elsewhere. That actually got reimbursed, but the other costs in there, the land purchase that we approved for the purchase of 231 Lakeview was one of them, and the long-term note proceeds was in there, and it shouldn't have been, because that was actually claimed earlier in the year prior. Then you have the added reserve funds that paid for certain things in Miller Park, which was the electrical that we put in. And the future project fund amount was, I believe, the borrowing that we were supposed to use for Wildwind Phase 1 that we were going to finish, but we pushed off 1 year so that we are doing it in 22. So that's pretty much what the amendments are here. The public works equipment was the brush cart that we added in towards the end of the year that we initially we had budgeted for, and the initial plans was for 22, but we paid for it in 21. So
What vehicle are we selling for $5,000?
that was half of the payment that we bought on the village side, Chris's old squad.
Admin vehicle.
Right. So
So-
5,000 came in from the water and sewer account to that account.
Okay, so that was internal purchase?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So that's 9.
Any other questions? If not, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve R-1-22.
A second.
Roll call. Peter?
Aye.
Shauna?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
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 Julie?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. B, discussion and possible action on resolution R-2-22, general fund budget amendments.
So there's a lot here. Basically, this is probably due to the years that in the past we would, since I've been on, basically what happened was the administration would find places to put the money. So we really didn't know what was really supposed to come out of certain accounts for some reason. So this year we decided to actually go where the money is supposed to go in, and so for example, one of the codification, in 2019, I believe, we found places we had extra funds in the budget, and we put codification in this line, and this line, and this line, even though it probably should have just went into a capital project line itself. So basically, this last year, we kind of, that's why the computer supplies is up, is because it's kind of always been up. It was being split into probably categories it probably shouldn't have. So overall, we're still positive on the budget at the end of the year. This is just also going to help with auditors so that they don't have to do as many journal entries at the end of the year, doing a lot of this transferring from account to account. So we still came in positive at the end of the year. I believe it was total, we still haven't gotten in one bill yet, which was around 46,000 that we do every year for the water and sewer fire hydrant rental. But it was at 158 minus that 46 or so. Positive. So we had a lot of expenses this year that we normally, well, we had a lot less expenditures in this budget than we normally would have, due to turnover, predicted rates that people would be at. I know administrator was a lot higher than, because we were predicting potentially the top rate. We didn't have that, so then we had a lot of extra left over there. Same with office staff, we had a lot of extra there. So that's why we came in as high as we did. But yeah, so this is just making sure there's no negatives. We still have positives, but
Under the cemetery care services, we just underestimated?
so no and yes. On the revenue side, if you saw it's increased. It was, I think, 3 times estimated we earned from sales and use, so burials. We had a lot more burials this year than we normally would have, so that's the increased cost. So we have a revenue on the opposite side for that.
Okay. Kind of figured that. Are there any other questions?
Is it easier to work with for you this way, I'm assuming, too? Okay.
This is basically just cleaning it up so it's all put in the right spots now.
Makes sense.
And for last year and then,
Well, right,
and then
it's
doing
like,
predictions for the
right,
next year.
it's so we don't have negatives, compared to budget and
Yeah.
versus actual, especially when it comes to the way that we do Public Works Department, because of the fact they don't have a single line for payroll, they have it throughout all those different lines, so it's hard to predict how much snow payroll we're gonna have, how much summer parks payroll we're gonna have compared to Otto Miller Park payroll, so it's kind of rearranging a lot of that.
budgeting too.
Right.
Next year.
So by doing this, it'll make it easier for us next year to predict, and the years coming forward to keep predicting what the next year's gonna be.
Putting the actuals in the right buckets.
If there are no more questions, I would need a motion.
I'll move to approve R2-22, 2021 general budget amendments.
I'll second.
Roll call, Peter?
Aye.
Shauna?
Aye.
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 Julie?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on Otto Miller Park lighting bids.
So, provided you information, I sent it out Friday, for you guys to basically look at over the weekend, the information, that B&H provided, and also Wisconsin Lighting Lab, the difference between the lights themselves. This is all the information that I have, and of course, looking at the contractors who submitted their estimates for the project. So this is the second phase of Otto Miller, the CIP project lighting. Requesting for the purchase of lights and the electrical contractors to complete this project. Several quotes were solicited and different light options that were listed. So we only received 2 different lighting structures, I guess you would say, for this project. And that's Morris Lighting, and then also the Will for Wisconsin Lighting Lab fixtures. As you see what I put in here, a lot of different factors were involved in looking at these fixtures. There is some difference, not a lot of difference. When you look at, and if you read some of the warranty stuff, the warranties, a warranty is a warranty sometimes, can be misleading in certain ways. The difference that I see in the lighting is your the wattage, and also looking at the kelvins, which is the color rating. Morris Lighting is a 5000 K. The HSX, the lights poles plus HSX, that's at a 5700 K. We can get into a little bit more detail on stuff with these lights, the difference between them, and so on and so forth when you start looking at light hours. The Morris product states 50,000 hours of use. Will Lighting is at 250 hours. So some semantics when it comes to that specifically in regards to how long these lights are gonna last. And that's one of my biggest issues here, is how long are these lights gonna last? So I asked Jeremy, I asked also gentleman from Wisconsin Lighting Lab, where are these structures, the HSXs or the Morris, where are these at? What municipality has put these in? The Will Lighting, Wisconsin Lighting Lab, has several places around. I'm familiar with them then with a project that we did in Clintonville, where it came from, in regards to our lighting up there. On the Morris side of this, I have to say that I don't know where this particular head up there on the board, where that particular head is actually installed. I don't know. Unless, Jeremy, have you had found anywhere in the state of Wisconsin that these were
There's
put?
roughly 30,000 of them installed all over the United States.
Nothing locally and,
Nothing here, no. 'Cause
yeah,
there's
nothing in
There's no
Wisconsin.
distributor that sells the stuff other than me, and I started 5 years ago.
Right.
I haven't sold that in this state, to be brutally honest.
So,
But I did the comparison, and I'm a lighting expert. So that fixture, if I can just speak on that, wattage is within 50. Color, temperature, Kelvin, you can't see the difference between 6,500 and 5,700. The human eye can't pick that up. That's just another spin word. 250,000 hours is an accelerated depreciation of light, how long it's gonna last. These light fixtures are gonna burn 100 hours a year. At 50,000 hours, you can do the math on that, how long is it gonna last? So, that's just another spin word of everybody saying that their product's gonna last longer. LED has been around since the 60s. They just finally put it all together and made it come out of there. So, that's just spin wording is what this all is between companies.
and you're right, he's right on this. So, who do we believe? I'm gonna say that, who do we believe? I don't know. I'm not familiar with this light, I have not seen this light illuminated, I have no other information in regards to this specific light. I can attest to the HSX, it used to be called something different prior to, but it's the same light, it's now called the HSX with Will Lighting, that I can attest to. Some of this, yes, he is correct. When you look at the wattage, sometimes that really doesn't matter if you're looking at 50 watts. Kelvin, yes, some people can, some people can't see that difference in that lighting aspect of that. Your 5,000 is more onto your, I'll say this, that it's more onto your warm side, the lower side. When you look at these lights here, I believe they're 5,000, if I'm not mistaken. The 5,700, you're gonna see just a tinge of being a little bit brighter. So I
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
that difference
Well,
personally, when I
These are
look
only
at it.
4,000K. So if you can see the difference between 5,000 and 4,000, you just said you can, but you,
I can see the difference between 5,000 and 5,700.
so let me stop you. I can see the difference too, but the difference, and I put fluorescent lighting up in my shop. So, and I did plenty of research on it, so I'm not an expert, but from my understanding, as you move up in the Kelvin, you get up to around 5,000 and it's approximately daylight.
Correct.
Okay, you move beyond 5,000, you start introducing blue into the lighting spectrum. So when you look at the lights, 5,000 is your optimum brightness, and after that you start to fuse in other colors that it doesn't necessarily get brighter, but you get more blue tint. As you get up into the 6,500s, it is almost a distorted light.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not necessarily what you're,
5,700 is classified as daylight.
okay. So, yeah, so you don't,
You
I
are
mean,
correct.
you can see the 5,000 to 5,700 is pretty, I mean, it's minimal, right? 5,000 is bright.
Correct.
You're not looking at 5,000s. You're not gonna look at the bulb. And then these are probably a bad example because this is a fairly
Yeah.
thick diffuser. I mean, if you took the shielding off of these lights and you tried to look at them, you'd hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, the
These are
Kelvin,
5,000.
I wouldn't be concerned with the Kelvin. Going up beyond 5,000, you're probably not gonna see a big difference. Is this, I mean, it seems like there's still a lot of, this was a lot to take in.
Oh,
I tried to read through it and I was like, okay, this is, I did plenty of research on lighting and I've been swapping out some lights and some other stuff for a couple other businesses and this was too much for me to take in. Is there still some questions as to how we want to proceed? Do we want to push this into a public facilities meeting?
No, I don't think so. I think it would be the recommendation of what you guys are thinking here. We are looking at saving as much money as possible. Budget was 65,000. We do have a little bit more for this project. Budget was 65,000. Obviously, in looking at this, even last year, prices have increased so much. by doing what we had done, or what I was instructed to do here, and that actually we are, if we look at the Morse lighting, we are truly way under budget by that approximately $14,000 mark. You can see that within the numbers here. My recommendation, as much as I want to say that the Morse light, because of cost, is best, I'm actually listening to Jeremy here a little bit in regards to Morse lighting. Morse lighting's all over the place. This particular structure, I don't know where it's at. I've never seen it. I'm not sure this particular structure. But Morse lighting is all over. In different types of lighting, we have a lot of it here, even in Hortonville. So, the different types. I'm not afraid of it. And here again, like I said, we're looking at a $14,000 difference realistically. I know Lights Poles Plus has been around for some time. I know several municipalities that have these types, and they have had zero issues. So I can bank myself on to say that if you guys decide to go with a local contractor or a local vendor, per se, because these guys are out of Fond du Lac. They assemble these units in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Parts, availability, everything comes out of Fond du Lac. Morris does not. Morris comes out of New York. So our support on that, I'm not sure what the support is on the Morris lighting.
It's, I'm right here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be Jeremy, pretty much, is where that support would be. So if we would have a failure within a head or whatever.
If,
So is everything apples to apples?
no.
Yeah, they are gonna be
Because
apples.
I guess,
You are
I
not
don't know
gonna
anything
see,
about
Yeah.
this kind of
you're
stuff.
not gonna see apples to apples in this type of light.
I mean, as far as the
No, but I mean,
waiver, the
yeah,
this,
exactly.
the-
I was hoping to see sort of a spreadsheet that sort of breaks that down, right? Like, here's the, I mean, we can see 40 lights, poles plus, sports lighter is X, right? And then Jeremy's got 40, you know, of this version. Okay, great. But then his quote has a bunch of other pieces and parts, bushings, whatever. Is that included in this? Is that a separate number somewhere? Is that an additional cost we're gonna incur? Like, where is all that stuff? So that, I guess
Oh,
that's
on the
my,
Jeremy's end of it?
yeah, like if
My
we look
stuff's
at
in
his quote, it's got, if we look at B&H lighting
Yeah.
quote, it's got
all in there.
all the pieces and parts, right, that we're gonna
Yes.
need. Which includes adapters and bushings and whatever, switches, screw covers. Is that included in these prices, or is that something that they're gonna charge as a piecemeal afterwards from
It's all included.
Wisconsin Lighting
In
Lab?
yours.
Can I,
Including the other.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
question.
can I speak about, can I speak towards it? 'Cause
Can,
Sure,
So,
can I interrupt?
sure.
Go ahead,
Go
Peter.
ahead, Peter.
Frankly, I find this a little confusing. I'm trying to make sense of this whole proposal layout. I think there's a lot of information we still have to get. And maybe what we need to do is move this issue to a committee of the whole, where we have more information and Craig can get it for us. I'm confused by some of this.
Committee of the whole or public
Let's do
Works.
public facilities.
facilities?
Well, yeah, there you go, okay.
Well, I mean,
Let's do it.
exactly, I
You
think,
know,
What do you want?
to me, I looked this over real closely prior to the meeting, and I was just somewhat perplexed because I'm trying to make heads or tails of this. Where it says B&H lighting is $40,677. The next column over, it's $40,677. I take it that's the Morris
yeah,
portion of it. Am I right there?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. But then when you go down to B&H, down at the bottom where it says 78, that number is actually 70, I think 73. If you look down in his proposal, you did take into account the
the RFP that was sent out.
Yeah.
That's
You
old-
see that?
That's old news.
Do you
Yes.
see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
So that's
you know,
old?
this whole thing is perplexing to me. It's just not cut and dry, and I don't like it. I would like to readdress this in a separate meeting and go from there.
What does he want?
Public facility.
No, what does he want?
You know, I think-
Does he
I
have
think-
something specific?
Peter, you're the chair on that. When do you want it?
Well, here's the thing, we're also running into not having lights for baseball. Because it's, right on these invoices, it says 6 to 8 week lead time for the lights, not even installation. And now we're running into April at
Mine
this
doesn't
point.
say that.
Well, I'm reading the one down here at the bottom, LED fixtures, 6 to 8 week estimated production lead time, correct?
That's for the,
For
yeah.
the
That's
Will-
for-
Wisconsin
that's
lighting.
for the
Wisconsin
HS.
Lighting Lab. I guess my fear is not having lights for high school baseball this year because
Jeremy, do
we
you want to
can't get our
speak?
stuff together.
If I may,
Okay,
if I lose, I'm okay losing. I really am. If they're gonna beat me, beat me. I'd like to be on the committee, and I will help lay out all the difference for everyone, everything you would like to see. If I get beat, I get beat. But I'll lay it out and prove and show you what the difference is. I don't even need to see the numbers. Craig can keep the numbers. I'll just help lay it all out with Peter and everybody else to make the decision.
I think my problem with this is, one, it's a ridiculous amount of information. It's a stack, you know? So when I'm looking at this, this is great, numbers are great, dollar amount, it's great. But I wanna know what I'm getting for that dollar amount. So I'm looking at this one from you, from B&H, and I'm looking at this one, and they're not apples to apples. So that's great. I've got this information here, but I don't know what I'm getting. You know, I'm kinda looking for the bottom screen of Amazon when you're comparing the same thing. It says this is this, and this has got this, and this does, you know what I mean? It's like, this one has this one, this one. I don't know what I'm getting for my money, and we need to be able to estimate what those additional costs are, because it doesn't mean we don't need those things, but we need to know how inclusive are these numbers. So, for me, as someone who doesn't know anything about lighting, other than, you know, buy light bulbs, this is overwhelming for me, and it's not very good at comparing apples to apples for me. So, I would prefer to see something, you know, take this, some sort of spreadsheet or something that just says, here's this, and this is what you get for this price. Okay, you get those same things, XXX for this same vendor for this price, otherwise it's too hard for me. So, that's for me, personally.
It's great to have all the information, but it's just, it's not together where we can compare them. I can't make heads or tails.
what do you
out
need,
of it.
Peter?
Who's on the public facilities beside myself?
You, Julie, Pat, and Shauna. But then we still have to bring it to a board meeting.
Pat? What?
Julie,
I'm sorry.
Julie, Shauna, Pat, and you.
Okay, are either one of those open for a public facilities meeting next Tuesday at 5 p.m.?
I'll be out of town. But you go ahead and meet, because I think we need to move
I
this
think you gotta
along.
listen to what Nathan's saying. You take 2
Yeah.
weeks out of this
I'm
picture.
available on next Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Who be you?
Julie,
This
Julie,
is Julie.
as am I.
I'm on the phone too, Peter.
Julie and Sean.
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Shauna, how about you?
I can be there.
Okay, Pat?
I'll be out of town, but I think time is of the essence, so I think you should go ahead
Can you
and meet.
attend via phone or no? If not, it's fine.
It'd be hard to.
Okay.
Well, how about Wednesday? How about Wednesday?
Wednesday's worse for me, Tuesday's better.
Wednesday does not work for Julie.
Go ahead and meet Tuesday then.
All right,
what
so
time?
let's do it Tuesday,
What time?
at 5 p.m.
If it comes down to timeline, we could have another special board meeting for 5 minutes.
Jeremy, your lights are, that your quote
Yeah,
is new.
Yeah, I
new
mean,
bulbs?
to be honest, I mean, if it's timing.
we could have a cow and a board meeting
My quote
and,
has
and have this done and
everything
over with.
included, including the surge
Okay.
protection. So if you add surge protection into the other people's, you're adding $3,000.
What about poles?
The poles are staying. We
Oh,
ran
what
all-
poles are staying?
We ran all new pipe and wiring that we designed to put a box. From the box up, the competition does not have new pipe and wire. They're using existing piping and existing boxes. It says it right there. Here's what I threw.
I think we should have a cow. And then a
Public
special board
facilities.
meeting right after.
We can do that with public facilities and board meeting.
Okay, either way.
I
On the
mean,
The
17th
same,
now?
the same,
Is that how I'm
no,
understanding
the
this?
same day,
no,
February 8th.
Yeah, the 8th.
Because
That's Tuesday.
if time is of an essence, then we need to have this public facility and then have the special board meeting following in order to decide as quickly as possible, correct? Is that what you're looking for?
Well, I mean, yeah, cause
High school ball is gonna be
I'm worried on lead time because it's not gonna look good if we don't have lights up for high school baseball.
So when are we talking baseball? Beginning of April?
April,
Potentially, yeah.
beginning of
Okay.
April.
Baseball doesn't play on these two nights.
Softball.
So, well, right.
Softball, it'd be the
Softball, they
softball,
typically don't call. Yep, you're right.
it's for school.
Is that what we wanna
School
do?
Yeah, I mean, that works.
Public facility at
5 and then,
5?
mhm.
And then the special board meeting to follow,
I can call in for
6
it.
o'clock.
Well, you have-
I can call.
You have to publish the time, I think, don't you?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
do 5:30,
So
I mean,
5:30?
and then if it's,
Yeah.
if it ends up starting at 6, it starts at 6, I mean,
yeah,
we've done that
All
before.
right,
so let's do that.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, so then that's all set and we will
I'll call in.
discuss it further at that time.
In the meantime, can you put something together that tries to look at apples to apples, what, because we're gonna need to see that, we're gonna need to understand.
Yeah,
You have to look at yours. Will is spelled out. Yours, you're gonna have to spell out a little bit more.
Mine's spelled
No,
out.
his is spelled out more.
I know mine.
Than
is.
Will's?
Yeah, he's got all these pieces and parts down at the bottom, and this one is limited. So it doesn't have all of the bushings and lock nuts, that's my concern. So how much are those things gonna cost and above and beyond, and what portion?
No,
of-
well,
They don't have
no,
acres.
we'll discuss that more.
That's the kind
It's
of stuff-
exclusive.
That's the kind of stuff that I guess I'm looking for.
yeah, I just think we need this to be clear so that we know what
What we're buying.
what we're doing. I mean,
The only thing I'll say here is that there is a difference in the lighting. So what that is price, bottom line. So,
okay, so we will discuss it then Tuesday. Correct? All right, then we will move on to D, discussion and possible action on McMahon's first payment for Miller Park.
in your packet, you should have the first payment, the certificate, issued to MCC in the amount of $70,769.84. This is a partial payment. This is work that was done through December 30th. So I need a motion to approve this.
So is it part of a larger thing that we already approved?
It was, but because it's a high dollar expense, we have to approve each voucher,
Oh, okay,
Correct.
okay.
so.
Yep.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the certificate of payment in the amount of $70,769.84 for McMahon Associates.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Peter?
Aye.
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 Aye. Sean, or, Julie?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. E, discussion and possible action on adding Christina King to the library board as a member, and I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Christina King to be a member of the library board.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. F, discussion and possible action setting up how for meeting etiquette.
That was, something that was asked at the last board meeting by Julie to be put onto the agenda. Did you wanna talk?
Yes, I asked for this. It's been a few years since a lot of us have done Government 101. And I think we should get a little bit of a refresher perhaps from the League of Municipalities to come on in and talk about meeting etiquette specific to open meetings law, walking quorums, that sort of thing, to make sure that we're keeping ourselves up to date.
Okay, so do you wanna schedule something, Nathan, and let us know when this can happen?
If
You'd
you
have
guys
to
are
get a
fine with
hold
that,
of-
I can contact the league and see if they wanted to, if they would come in sometime. I mean, we could do it potentially prior to a board meeting, if that works for you guys, or,
Yeah,
Mhm, sure.
let's get some potential dates and.
30
We're going
minutes
to do
prior to the
cow.
board meeting. I mean,
Yeah. Just set it up and see when they can possibly come and we'll go from there.
sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Nathan.
Okay, so then we will go to G, discussion and possible action setting up a cow for My Viewpoint training.
This is the software that we bought, that department heads use for tracking budgets, that we said we were gonna get you guys a log on for, that we got you guys set up, I think initially, but we kinda wanted to teach you how to use it so that you can see how the budget's going at any time that you feel like it.
Okay, so you wanna do that in
I figured it, well, we have to, I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be Cal, but we need a date that we can set up that we can publish a potential quorum notice, so, cause I'm guessing more than 4 of you would be there, maybe, I don't know.
what is,
Is that good before a board meeting then also, or does that get a little long?
I guess it's hard to tell, because I think some people might need more time, and I'd rather not rush everyone, and I think some are gonna get it right away, and some might need a little more time, so I think it would be better if it was a non-board night, so then, you know, we can kind of walk through it. Once, if people need more time, I can stay after and kind of help with them a little more. So, I guess, I mean, it doesn't need to be all at once either. If you guys wanted to come in one-on-one, I can do that as well, anytime, so.
what does everyone wanna do?
It's a lot of your time though, if we
Yeah.
come in individually.
I would say let's do it in a cow.
Okay.
I for one have no interest
Okay.
whatsoever. I'm not a budget, I don't understand the budget, so whenever we throw it out, I have question after question after question. And me looking at it on there is not going to, gonna help me at all. Not that I don't feel like we need to be involved in it, but
Right.
that's what we hired you for.
No, I agree.
And we get reports and you can answer questions whenever, so, it's not my expertise, so I have no interest in learning how to view something that I won't understand.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And it's not my full-time job either.
Right.
I have other stuff.
Good point.
I honestly, I don't have the time to look at it and I don't understand it to begin with, so. Shauna would be a lot better suited for, I mean, you have to learn how to understand it and then take the time to look at it too.
I mean, to me, this could, I mean, we're building up a lot of meetings here already in February, so maybe this is something we could push off to like the first meeting
Right.
of March, the 3rd, a month
Sure.
from now. That would, and that's a board meeting, we could do it right before that board meeting. I would hate, I just think we're dumping a lot of stuff right now to try to get done with before board meetings or whatever right now,
And
so.
whoever's interested can be there.
And exactly, it's a come if you want, don't if you don't. Gotta be there for the board meeting, but those that are interested are interested. They could stay after, or if they need more, then they could do it.
Everyone's good with that?
I mean, is there a tutorial, like an online tutorial for that at all, or any videos that exist?
We might, well,
We can look.
we can look, usually they like to have you pay for training.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they have the hands-on
Right.
training, right? And then some of it you play with until you,
Right.
that's, I mean, that's how you learn
I mean, the
software,
one
right?
thing to
So-
know, that's the best way to learn how
Right.
to use it. I think
But you need to know what you can touch, not screwed up, and
you
whatever.
can't touch it. Nothing you can do on there will screw anything up because it's pulling it from a different software.
So great, so I say, whatever time before a board meeting, we
Right.
go through, we look at it, you kind of show us the, how to get basic navigation, and then it's a game of playing, and then,
Yep.
you know, then if you have questions, you know, my only suggestion is if we're doing that, you know, and people have questions, maybe make it a joint question or one that they present to you, and you share to everyone, because everyone may have that question, so you show them how to do that. That way, you're not answering the same question 42 times.
Right.
But, I think that's the best way to do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Because for me, learning software is more playing with it to see what I can do with it before I don't. And you won't look at it anyway, so it doesn't.
I won't. No.
It's easy.
Are we
I don't
good
have the
then?
bandwidth.
You're gonna do it
Sorry.
sometime in March,
You said the
The
third.
first, yeah, that's the first board meeting.
March
Yeah.
I
3rd?
just don't want to add any more to February.
No.
We got a lot happening already in February.
All right, then we will move on to H, discussion and possible action setting up ATV, UTV trails timeline.
So, sorry.
You wanna go ahead with A?
Yeah, I think basically, this was kind of the outline we wanted to do. We wanted to do how basically getting information out, general information that we've come across, potential ordinances that we like, potential ordinance that we would probably want to present to the public hearing. I think it's good to have a public hearing. It's not, I don't think it's necessary, but I think it's good for the public to hear, or be invited to hear kind of what's planning on happening, so they understand when they see a four-wheeler in the road that it's loud and all this other stuff. A lot of other places have done it that way. I think Swamico had one a few months ago. They had their public hearing, and it's just to inform the public kind of what you've thought of. That way they don't think we just pass something. It's, you know, something good that we can talk. What?
It's a dog.
Oh, it's something, it's something that we can kind of say, you know, inform the public the stuff that we've thought of, that they might have thought of and thought we didn't. And I think this is the best way to go forward from here. Would be start a cow, get our ducks in a row, then have a public hearing, then pass it out to board level, if that's the case, if that's the way we want to go.
So now are you into the second, meeting in March?
Well, what's our timeline working backwards?
So
Ideally, if you could say, this is when we want to have
April
something.
would probably be the best time, because most of the snow is melted usually by then. We
Okay.
might have one more snow.
By
But,
May 1st.
yeah, it'd
So-
be better to do that.
So
Right, by the
something,
first
so
one in
something
April.
by May 1st, right? So
Yeah.
that means we'd have to have the public hearing in April,
1st of April.
May 5th is
What's that?
May 5th
First
is the
of
first
April.
board
April
meeting.
Fool's Day? Yeah, okay. So sometime in April, we have to have the public hearing.
Right.
And then, so then the cow can be,
Sometime in March if we wanted to,
okay. So just so we're not trying to shove another cow in.
within
Here.
the next week.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So,
so go ahead and set that up, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I mean,
So-
is it, for a cow, is it easier probably before a board meeting sometime?
So now you're talking probably the 17th of March? The second one?
Well, so we could either have the cow, because the goal is we could do the public hearing in April, right? That's what you're saying? So we could either do the cow the 17th, which would be well before an April, because there's 5 weeks in March. Or we could do it the 7th of April and still do have 3 weeks to throw a public hearing in there. So it's a matter of, do you want a month and a half between the cow and the public hearing, which I think is not a good plan? Or do we throw it into the April 7th as a cow and then have sometime between the 7th and the 20th and the 5th of May to have the public hearing? I think,
I don't think we would need as much time. I think 2 weeks is fine between. Not a lot.
I mean, if we had the public hearing on the 21st, or that week, sometime, whenever,
21st of,
April,
okay.
that still gives us 2 weeks before the May village board meeting. I guess I don't think it makes sense to have too much time between each of the items. I think if you put too much time between the cow and the public hearing, you're gonna lose stuff, and if you have too much between public hearing and the village agenda, it's gonna have too much.
Well, I guess depending on what we want, what comes up.
A lot of the times we have the public hearing right before the board meeting where we have it as an action item on the board.
I
on the
would
meeting.
probably
Right.
not do that, because I think
There's gonna be
the
questions,
idea
I
is
think.
to invite, so you send out a mailer
Yeah,
to all the residents,
okay.
which is different than normal.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so-
we will
Which
have.
allows
a
them to
lot
ask
of-
you
questions.
You don't
Yes.
usually wanna have that the same night as a board meeting, because it'll be a long night.
Yeah.
Because you
let's
might
not
have a
do
lot of
that.
people in opposition, and you might have a lot of people for it, and might not have any opposition. I
We
don't
have a lot of
know.
Okay.
questions that need to be
Right.
answered.
Okay.
Right, so I think it's probably best if we. different-
I'd rather have less time between the cow and the public hearing and more time between the public hearing and the agenda, because I
agree.
think there's gonna be questions that need to be addressed.
Right, and that's my thought.
And it may be best, I don't know how this works, and I could be wrong, and maybe this is a violation, I have no idea, but, maybe there's something we can do on the Facebook page where they can ask questions in advance, we can be prepared, or to answer those questions, or some sort of repository to be able to provide frequently asked
Right.
questions, or whatever,
Right,
between that time.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
I mean, we can send out information on Facebook and ask people to send in any questions they may.
Just so that we can
Right.
have them
That
prepared and
wouldn't
kind
be
of
a
help
bad
with
thing.
that process,
I
right?
mean, I think we have a lot of the same questions because I think internally, I think there's enough views that I'm sure a lot of these questions have been asked, but it would be good to get.
Well, and just to have, after the fact, have a place that all of those answers can be put for people to
I
get them
agree.
for,
That's
so they're
a good
not
idea.
calling you 50 times, they're calling all of, not that I mind the call, but,
You're
it'd be
right.
nice to be consistent, go
Right.
here, go here, go
I
here.
agree. That's a
In
good
my
idea.
experience, when we've considered these ordinances in other municipalities, the ATV, UTV clubs get involved and they attend meetings, and sometimes their answers to the common questions are not, from a legal standpoint, consistent with what we would expect to see. So I think that's a really good idea, just to have a good, handful plus of questions that you want to address at the meeting, and maybe we can discuss ahead of time, some of the concerns or possible responses to those.
On the flip side, we have a spot that we put all those the questions and answers and anything else that comes up, because then you can lead people to, at the meeting, we hand out, say, go to here's where you find it on our Facebook page or whatever
Or
it may
our
be,
website,
or our
yeah.
website, and all the answers to the questions that were asked are there.
Okay,
And hopefully that it provides consistency.
yeah.
They're not calling me and getting some version of it, calling, Jeannie or, Jim or somebody, not that intentional, but it's just,
Right. No, that's a good idea.
Okay, so
So where are we at?
April public hearing.
I think it was the
7th.
first one in April, right?
Yeah,
The
I would
7th,
say
and then
7th.
the public hearing. I mean, the public hearing's the only one, I mean, you probably don't want it on the 21st.
no.
No,
The 28th? No, because then you're.
No, they're too close to the,
Right, so
No.
you're looking
I would
at
say, maybe the week prior, or,
the 14th.
yeah, or anytime that week.
just remember, no, that's, Easter week, right? Easter's
Weekend.
on the 17th,
15th.
No, 17th.
No, yeah, 17th. Good Friday's
so we probably don't wanna do that on, Thursday?
on there. I mean, I don't know.
Or,
Well,
I was
13th, it doesn't have to be a Thursday, right?
Right.
No,
It could be any day of the week.
It could
right, I mean,
be any day that week. I would stay away from Thursday, Friday, just because of,
The
right.
holiday.
yeah. So, what's everyone available if we did it on a Tuesday night?
13th, we got a
Nope.
fire district
Nope,
meeting.
Wednesday night.
The 13th, we got a fire district meeting.
Okay,
So
so we'd
what about
have to either go,
20th?
we'd probably have to do a Monday night, the 11th?
Yeah, that's
So, you wanna have the cow on the 7th and the public hearing on the 11th?
Should be fine.
Yeah, but then we should have the questions.
Okay.
So then, April 11th,
Okay.
okay. And then it would go on the agenda when?
15th or the 29th?
The 21st.
The 21st,
Oh, the, yeah, 20, so.
to vote on it.
Yeah, so that's ready to go for,
Or, yeah.
Peter and Julie, are you hearing this?
Yes.
Okay, and those dates are okay with you?
This is Julie, and go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say I'm good for any night of the week, including Saturday and Sunday.
This is Julie, and I'm good actually for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week. Any of those work for me?
So we'll just
Monday.
plan on April 11th on that Monday?
Yes.
Okay,
So April
Everyone?
7th, April 11th, and April 21st.
yep.
Those
are
three?
you, are you
Okay.
good?
At what time are we looking at?
I think it would have to be
6.
6.
I
mean,
think so.
Especially for the public hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, the cow can be before that.
Right.
The 7th will be 5 or 5:30.
Yeah, probably 5.
5.
You need an hour to go through that?
Well, you're gonna go through ordinance, you're gonna look at,
All right,
'cause
so
we might
this,
have costs, we might have, I mean, there's a lot.
so the 7th is 5 for the cow and then the village board meeting after. And then the 11th is at 6 PM for the public hearing, and then the agenda is just the normal board meeting.
Okay. So we're all set?
Yep.
Okay.
So can I just clarify the dates? I had to, there was some background noise. So I have the public hearing on Monday, the 11th. So the cow that we're gonna do a cow before the meeting on the 7th?
Yes,
Yes.
5 PM.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we will move to I, discussion and possible action setting up a cow for Hortonville homecoming.
This, I believe, was asked to be on the agenda by Peter.
Yes. Peter, when do you want to discuss the homecoming? Peter?
Hello?
Peter, are you still with us?
We lost.
This is Julie. I don't hear his background noise anymore on my phone, so I think he's gone.
Okay. Should we try him back?
I think we would just have to hit flash again and then try calling him and then hit it again.
I'll be back with you.
Peter, we lost you there.
Yeah, I was just sitting here, it dropped off.
Okay, now we have you again.
I didn't touch it.
Peter, we're trying to set up a cow for the Hortonville homecoming.
Oh, okay.
You wanted it discussed?
Yeah, we can discuss it at one of the upcoming cow meetings if you want to just add it. It's just a short dialogue.
Okay, I mean,
Can I ask if that's, Peter, is there a separate committee that plans that though, outside of village board, right?
yeah. It's not through
Yeah.
the village at
So,
all, it's through the
right,
civic
so
club.
I guess I'm confused about,
Why?
are you, yeah, I guess I wanted some clarification, just curiosity. If it should be a separate committee or, I don't know.
No.
So,
Why does the village why do we have to have a meeting if it's, the village ain't involved?
right.
Well, if the village isn't involved, here's the issue. Some years ago, when I was first on the board, Patrick was involved in at that time, of course Nathan wasn't there, there was a fund of $10,000 set aside for functions and events that would benefit the local populace. I don't know where those funds are. I think they've been absorbed into the general fund. But I thought maybe some open discussion on whether we want to resurrect that, not to that amount of money, but, you know, that was the issue. That was a concern.
Those funds were pushed into the future project fund amount, in 2019, when we combined our reserve funds that weren't being used. I mean, they still could be reallocated, if the board wanted to. I mean, I guess I don't know what it's gonna be used for.
Well, I can tell you, we're having fireworks this year. And I thought maybe that the village would want to contribute a nominal amount to the fireworks. That's what I was going to bring up for discussion.
Okay.
Now, that's up to the board. I just thought I would, ask the board to consider it so that, these are tax dollars, people pay the money, and this would benefit, the local population.
Exactly, though, why are we taking tax money and putting on a fireworks show for the taxpayers?
Say that again?
Why would we give tax dollars to put on a fireworks show for the taxpayers?
Jack, that's because we're good guys.
You're taking from them to put on a show for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just something I thought maybe we could bring up for discussion. You don't have to. If you want to just
Am I thinking that right?
say no, we won't go into
We're
the
getting into
discussion,
something
it's
that's not on the
fine.
agenda.
Am I thinking that right?
Yeah, Jack, we're getting into something that's not on the agenda. We can put it on the agenda, let's just put it on the board meeting agenda, and we can talk about
No, we want it on a call. We want it on a call.
So this is Julie. I guess my question is, back when the
We need to stop a meeting now.
did fireworks,
Right now.
are we able to pull up any kind of did the village help with the fireworks then, or what, you know what I mean? Like, should we look at historically what we've done and see what can be done?
We're well into the discussion that's
I'm
not on the
sure that she's
agenda.
hearing.
We need to, the
What we
agenda
do-
item is discussion of whether we want to have a cow.
Put it
Not-
on
not-
a call
So, put it on a
Yeah,
cow,
okay.
put it on one of the cows.
and let us know when.
Yeah, it'll be probably tied to the etiquette maybe.
Okay,
That's fine.
yep.
Sorry. Got a little heated.
Okay, we're good then. We'll move to J, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Okay, there's none. 10, report of village officials. A, clerk treasurer. Jane?
Excuse me, my report was in the packet.
Does anyone have questions for Jane? Okay.
More.
I should maybe comment that on the site where it terminated obsolete accounts, that doesn't, you can still see all the history. It's, I just terminated them. so-
Inactivated them.
Yeah, deactivated basic, so they're not in all of our, yeah, just to
Okay.
clarify that.
Okay, we'll move to B, director of public works. Craig?
In the packet is my report. The only thing I want to highlight in here is future. What we're looking at here is a couple different things that will be probably on the next agenda. We are looking at assessments, and obviously we're looking at Oak and Town construction projects. So assessments, everything, scope of work, engineering, things like that. We will be looking at bringing that to the next board agenda. So I'll have a lot more information for you for that.
Okay, any questions for Craig? Okay, we will then move to C, police chief, Chris.
My report is also in the packet. One thing that I would like to add is that Paula Reeder sent out a email one day or the beginning of this week, stating that she has a siren update. I reported earlier that they were looking at replacing the radio and a bunch of other parts, but then they were also thinking about doing the siren activation software. They're running into several bumps, and they have decided to postpone the purchase of that software upgrade. I don't really think that this is going to affect us because I don't think it's the software. I think it's more of the actual radio that's causing our problems. So the radio and the antennas and things like that.
Jane.
So, so I will keep you updated when I hear more from that, and as we continue this journey.
Any more questions for Chris? No questions?
So, are we having some issues with, traffic? I mean, I see we're steadily going up. I mean, we went from 49 last year, 38, 52, 60 to 102 in January. I mean, we're double where we were last January for traffic enforcement. Are we having particular issues there, or?
What they're doing, those traffic enforcement screens, the traffic stops are the ones that they're actually traffic stops. Traffic enforcements are when they're sitting on the side of the road,
Okay.
and they're actually patrolling in a certain area. So they're starting screens so that we basically know where they're at, where they're doing the traffic enforcement throughout the village.
Okay. Good. So, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't understand that. What are we listing? We have 102 of something for traffic enforcement.
Traffic enforcement, that's just specifically where they're sitting doing traffic enforcement. Traffic stops are what happens
Okay.
when they are doing their traffic enforcement.
So how do we measure 102? I mean, what is that a measure? I just don't understand. I mean, because it's always been significantly less than that, with the exception of one time. So I'm wondering, what are we measuring?
I'm not sure what that.
Okay, so we got 102, right? We got 102 of something.
How do you count one?
Yeah, how do you count one?
102, so if you divide that by 30 days, so roughly they're doing 3 or 4 traffic enforcement screens. They're creating three or four traffic enforcement screens per day, okay? So if they're sitting on 9 in Brookwood and doing traffic enforcement, looking for speeding violations, they start a traffic enforcement screen. So then, say for instance, then they move over to Town and Oak.
Okay,
They'll do another traffic enforcement screen. And then they may move over to Alonzo Park and they'll start a traffic enforcement screen. That means
that's 3.
that's 3. So
Okay.
if they do 4, each officer may do 2 in a shift.
Okay, so this is.
I don't create them.
No,
I just
I
go
know.
and
I'm
do
just trying to
them.
understand what it is.
Right.
Because it's a bigger, like I said, last year it was, the number had just changed so drastically, because last year, January, it was 42, and this year, January, it's 102. So that just means that the officers, so every time the officer stops and sits somewhere and watches for traffic, that's a 1, that's a count.
Right.
Right, so,
Part of those numbers might also be COVID affected still, because in that time period, I
Well,
don't
you're
know if
doing,
we were off the
because
full.
what you're looking at is you're looking at, there was 102 for January of 2022 versus
49.
42
42 in.
49.
Traffic enforcement is
49
No,
in
in traffic.
2021.
Enforcement, 49,
We
sorry,
had
yeah,
change in
49.
staff too.
Okay, sorry, 49, so.
Yeah, so if you have change in staff too, it depends on what they're actually doing.
So they're just sitting in more places. That's what this is.
They're actively.
Okay. I'm just trying to look for clarification, because the number is so
Right.
different, I was looking
I
to
think it's,
see what it was.
basically it's a change of staff, because we had the change of staff, you know, right around October. And you can see that more screens, we went from 32 to 69 in October. From September to October, that we had more screens that were started for traffic enforcement.
Okay. Is there like a minimum time where that it qualifies, or they said somewhere for 5 minutes that qualifies as one, or?
Could be, they could
Okay.
they could start the screen and then get called away to domestic.
Okay,
They already started the screen, it's not like they can take it back.
okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, yep, thank you.
Yeah.
I was just looking to understand.
Any other questions?
That's the way I describe it.
Okay, we will then move to D, Library Director, Ally.
I do not have anything to report. Are there any questions for me?
Okay, we'll go to E, Attorney.
I don't have anything to report. Same, any questions for me? Typically, if I have something to report, I'm doing it in closed session. I guess I wonder, did your last attorney have a report for you from those meetings?
No,
No?
Not really.
no,
Just making sure I'm not,
no. Just
Once,
if you
once in a
had,
great while he did, but that was very
Yeah.
rare.
or if you had something to comment on, something that we've discussed or
oh, I
whatever,
see.
you know.
Follow-ups on the property issues, or something to do with getting the building inspector somewhere, or
The
something
sale
like
of a
that.
property, right?
Yeah, I mean, those were the, you know, what the progress was on, you know, progressing through an existing issue.
I'm interested to see how you handle ATV, UTV.
Just looking forward to that.
But any questions for me? Okay.
No? Okay, we'll go to F, Administrator, Nathan.
I had a report in the packet, been talking with a lot of business owners lately, we had a few stop in today talking about the pocket park potential for, they were wanting to purchase, that'll be in a future meeting potentially. I told them that they would have to present it to you guys, whether if you wanted to sell it to them or not. Basically, walked through, the S.E. Soderski properties for the first, apartment complex, and we granted occupancy for 20 of the units. So we have 20 more to go before we have to get our next loan, for them. So, I think we're looking at about March for that loan potentially is when they would probably get occupancy for the others. I think they're still doing opening around March as well for the first one that we just granted occupancy for. But, we'll see, I'm sure they'll have a, grand opening ceremony or something that Jeannie and myself will be invited to, but, yeah, so.
Got cake.
Any questions for Nathan? Okay. We'll move to G, Building Permit Report. It is in the packet. 11, Communications and Miscellaneous Business.
Jeannie, I'm sorry, can I ask one question, if we know the answer? Is 125 John Street, is that the duplexes or is that Pinewood? Do you know? Pinewood?
Yeah, Outer Gaming County Housing Units.
Yeah.
Well,
Cause they have.
yeah, I think it's Pinewood though. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just fine.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
That's okay. Okay, 11A, Black Otter Lake District News. Pat?
We received the old wheel drives back. They were delivered and a check for $3,754.17, which is half of the invoice that was, that he sent. So we're making a little progress, I guess. We'll be having another meeting, I'm not sure when, but, we'll be following up to decide what we do next. And then I just wanted to let you know too that we are partnering with the Fox Wolf Water Alliance to do the lake cleanup again, which will be May 7th, just like everything else is May 7th. So, the registration will be on their website, again, it was the same last year, and we did have a good turnout of volunteers. They've also said we should include the Wyowash Trail on our cleanup also, so, but we can. Fox, the website, so some people might like to walk the trail.
Tell the county it's theirs.
We could promote it with the county,
There you
county
go.
parks, yeah, good idea.
15 out there.
We'll do that.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News. Jim? Nothing? C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. There is none. D, Hortonville Civic Association. Peter?
None.
Okay. E, Senior Activities Committee. Pat?
We had a meeting last Thursday. We decided that we would meet as a core committee, which is the members that are appointed by this board every month, and we will have the larger committee every other month. So our next large meeting will be March 24th. And we're having Rebuilding Together come and speak to us. It's a program where they do remodeling and providing safety, like ramps and things for people, low-income recipients. So they're going to be speaking with us in March. Potluck is on Monday. Nathan is going to join us for lunch and tell people, give updates about the village. And then 2 weeks, I think it's February 21st, the next Monday gathering is for the birthday party, and some kids from the high school are going to come over and present some music performances. So they've done that before in the past for us. And we're looking ahead to hearing from ThedaCare on their rural health initiative, and also more information on the census to help us plan forward for covering all the people.
Any questions for Pat? Okay, we go to 12. Comments and suggestions from citizens present. There are none. 13, I would need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We are now adjourned.